So there are two things I need to say before I get into the main subject of this video. One, it's come to my attention that not all my videos are posting in the order in which they were recorded. That is nobody's fault but mine, because I'm not uploading them at the right times. When I do these big video dumps, I'm getting a lot of content on one day, and the shorter videos upload faster than the longer ones, and therefore are not necessarily in the order they belong in. Additionally, on that same note, there are a couple of videos that for whatever reason were selected to be private instead of public, and so when I changed those, they moved to the front of the queue. Now that may just be on my end, I'm not sure, but that I can apologize for that. You should be able to tell, for the most part, which videos were published when, or at least recorded when, simply by the outfit that I'm wearing in the video, with the exception of one. But we talked about that already. The second thing is that today actually ended better than it started. I feel better this afternoon than I did this morning, which is good. Now, into the real meat of the video. I talked a while back about a book that I'm reading called The Noticer by Andy Andrews. And it really is, I'm into the book. I think it's a good book. It tends to jump around a little bit, which is not the most or the best strategy for writing, unless you're really going to do a good job of it. But it does okay. Just to recap, the main character, Jones, I thought the main character was going to be Andy, but it turns out that the main character is actually Jones so far. We see him more often, and we're following him around at this point in the chapter that I'm in than we are Andy. Now, I have a feeling it'll come back to Andy in the end because he's the first one that Jones encountered. But for now, Jones is the main character. And he is what I think, at this point, the noticer. He notices things. He is there to be an influencer in people's lives simply by showing them that he has observed what they're going through. And additionally, adds value to their life by giving them the perspective that they so desperately need. That's a recap of where the book was so far. This morning, when I was talking about making your actions speak louder than your words and not the other way around, I alluded to some things that make people feel valued right at the end of the video this morning. So go back and watch it if you haven't already. I alluded to the idea that sometimes it's nice to have an attaboy or congratulations or to do something for somebody. And in the book, it actually fed off of that conversation this morning. I hadn't read that far in the book yet. Not to say that I came up with these ideas, but there are four main ways that people feel love or value. And that's what the book talked about today. And some people refer to them as love languages. Some refer to them as love dialects. There are many, many writings on this concept. And the first time I heard about them was when I was in high school. My youth minister at church told us about the love languages. And he spoke on how he and his wife have to appeal to each other's emotional side in different ways. And the book today went on to say that we all grow up thinking that everyone else is just like us. It's not until you get along in years, how many years I think depends on your circumstances, but until you see a few more things and experience new realities, you don't understand that people are different. We grow up, we have this innate sense of, oh, everyone is just like me. We're all exactly the same. We all feel the same things, think the same things. We know that obviously physically we're all different, but it's hard to make the connection on the emotional level because we all feel as though, oh, well, if I think this way, then they do too. some of us still feel as though that should be the case. But back to the love dialects or love languages. There are 4 main ones, and I'm going to, again, this is not my idea. This is from the book and from things that I have heard in the past. The first one, I guess in no particular order, but the first one I'm going to list is spoken word. Some people feel love simply by hearing the words, I love you, or some variation of that. I appreciate you, you're awesome, you're great, these types of things. And those types of people are referred to as puppy dogs. If you had to relate that love dialect, that love language to an animal, it would be a puppy dog, because that is how you train a dog. In the same way, though, negative words drag them down. Dogs whimper and tuck their tail between their legs when they're being yelled at in harsh tones, just like people do. Not necessarily literally, but in the sense that if you tell somebody bad things, harsh things, then they're going to feel devalued. The people that are the puppy dogs that respond to spoken word. So that's the first love language. And it's hard to perceive what somebody feels loved as. So you have to practice all of these in order to actually know how your significant person, either it's a family member or a spouse or a child, whatever, is going to respond. Maybe it's even a coworker. And before I go on, I'll clarify that I'm not talking about love in the romantic sense. Just love in the sense that it exists. It's very simplest value. Definition, I guess I should say. The second is touch. Physical touch. Some people feel love simply by being touched, whether that's a pat on the back or holding hands, a hug, a kiss, whatever it may be. Physical touch is the second of the love languages. And these people, I forget what the animal was that they related it to. Oh, cats. Cats, which I think is stupid, but it works. Cats feel love through touch. They don't care who you are. They will not come when you call them. All they want to do is rub their face or their back along you, or get scratched by you. That's how cats feel connected to people. They don't connect in any other way, other than if you're something they can rub up against, they're going to go there. The next one is action or tasks. If people feel that you are doing something for them or completing a task that they deem necessary, and this is the one I alluded to in this morning's video, then they're going to feel loved and valued by you because you are doing something for them, physically doing something. And this is the goldfish. The animal relates this way to, or the animal that this one relates to is the goldfish. Because a goldfish can't hear words. I mean, they might be able to hear. I'm not sure if they can actually hear, but they don't respond to tone or word or anything like that. You can't really pick them up and touch them because that's kind of frowned upon. So the only thing they know is action. If when you are there, you give them food, you clean the bowl, and you straighten up the little plastic plants in their tank, they feel appreciated. That's what they need. And so people that experience love through action think the same way. If you're there to do something for them, they're going to appreciate that. And then the fourth and final one is time. And not just spending time, but quality time, alone time, personal time. This one's hard because you can spend an insane amount of time with somebody. You can be with that person every day, essentially. But quality time, alone time, to sit and listen and just be with one another at a very raw level is the fourth and final love language. And this one I don't really get the animal connection, but the way it was explained was the canary. Canaries apparently don't respond to touch or words or actions, but they want quality time. Someone to sit and listen to their songs, their whistles, their tweets. And apparently, again, the way the book explained it, is that if you don't do that, if the canary doesn't feel as though it's getting time or being listened to, it will actually die of loneliness. So let me see if I can help the light situation a little bit here. A little bit better? I don't know. So those are the 4 main love languages, the 4 dialects of love and how to express it. Spoken word, touch, physical touch, action or tasks, and quality time. 4 ways that human beings experience love and recognize love. Now, the hard part comes when, at the romantic level, like you and your spouse or you and your significant other, if you don't speak the same love language, that's really, really hard to overcome. So, for example, if you experience love through physical touch, but your spouse experiences love through action, you're more likely to show love in the way you experience it. So you might be holding that person's hand or giving them back rubs or, whatever it may be, hugs, kisses, but they're not viewing that as love. They see that it's happening. They receive the action or the touch, but that's not the language in which they most connect to love. And in the same sense, action. If your spouse views love through action, doing things, maybe that's laundry or vacuuming or doing the dishes or trimming the bushes or whatever it may be, actions, they're going to look for those from you. And if you're not giving that, then they're not going to receive that. So that's the hard task to overcome. Quick sidebar. This silver Pontiac Grand Am has been sitting here for like 4 days on the side of the road and has yet to be towed. So they're not going to feel loved at the deepest sense unless you're speaking the same love language as they are. And the opposite is also true. You're not going to feel love and connection without them speaking your love language and appealing to you in the way that you feel most connected with. So I thought that was interesting that I read that today, and that the end of my video this morning kind of very, very lightly touched on these topics. So it's something to think about in all your relationships, whether they're personal, professional, romantic, whatever it may be. Pay attention to what the people you're interacting with, how they respond to the different areas of these. And some of them are inappropriate. I mean, in a work setting, you're obviously not going to go up and give your coworker a back rub. HR will probably be called and you might be asked to find a new job. But there are ways to perceive how people feel appreciated, valued, and loved. So just kind of keep an eye out, keep your ears open, and first connect with what your dialect is. Understand what yours is so that you can express it to others and be like, hey, I need to be told that I'm doing a good job, or I need to feel your connection to me physically, or I just want you to spend time with me. Tell the people that are important to you that that's how you understand value and love and connection, so that you can start to get those things in return. And then in the same sense, ask them or just observe and notice what people want from you to feel that connection, and then do it. That's the second part that connects to this morning's video again. Don't say it and not do it, because that just means that has no value at all. There's nothing to it. If you say and never do, there's no point. So, something to think about, something to work on, something to keep in mind as we continue our relationships, personally, professionally, whatever it may be. I'll see you in the morning.